part, so that's why I didn't record it. But I want to say this is a very interesting point. Okay, so again, I think this is a server room. So this is a server room. I said server room means like a data center or a server room. Okay, so this room usually like closed environment phys- for physical access protection purpose, mainly physical access protection. So which user can able to go inside a server room, which user cannot. Next one is server room should be always clean. If normally people are allowed to access the PC, allowed to go inside a server room, what happen, we carry lot of dust particles also. Sometimes some person wetted in a rain, outside is rain, you rush to into a server room with your wet clothes, damage will occur. Dust particles using shoes, like, depends upon organization, so different server rooms are there. So you can see Google server room, you can type in a Google like Google data center, Google server room. You can see this is inside a Google image, they released this one, so that's a video is also there. You can see that is a big data center. So each that you can see boxes. Okay, so that is like, it's look like a whiteboard or something is there, no? It is each one is a single data center. Like that there is a multiple data centers are there, so you can watch this one also. Okay, you can go to images also, you can go to images and you can see a different server room. See how beautiful it is look like. This is complete data centers. Normal server rooms also there, not only a Google. If you go to any small organizations, then you can also see a data center. These people are working inside a data center. Whenever they go, they don't sit like this. Okay, so he's putting a legs stretched to on this one. Okay, but it is a lot of wires and all. The person should not carry any external electrical things, personal laptops, personal mobile phones, or anything we can. So they will give what are the required things, connections and all, usually like this. Okay, so we have to connect and monitoring or accessing kind of stuff. This is a, I think it is power related one or supply related one. Okay, okay, so it's a beautiful lights, they will take a pictures in a beautiful way. Okay, so very less people will get a job in a data center directly working inside. Okay, I think CCNA data center something is there, one course is there, CCNA data center. Okay, few courses like related to that one, so they will maintain here. Okay, so people will can able CCIE. Okay, engineering means higher level people who knows these things, they will go inside. This is scrap. Okay, okay, so this is like this is Google and other server room, but I'm removing server room and I put only server room. So you can these are all giving big pictures, you can see small pictures also. Okay, now so we'll see that later. Okay, so this is a server room, physically protected, only authorized people go inside for managing, changing or replacing something or upgradation. So installations, physical installations. Okay, so we those people who only go inside, but normally people work in a network only. Okay, so whatever it is, Linux server, Windows server, firewalls, routers, everything will be stores inside a server room only. How we are accessing? Through network only, outside of the server room. If you are accessing through network and outside of your server room, and you are accessing through network, if you are accessing through network, then that is called a in-band. If you go inside a server room and you are accessing a server physically, if you are accessing server physically, that we call it as a out of band. Okay, understand? So what is out of band? Physical access is in band, through network you are accessing it, so only that thing. Okay, Next, here you can have multiple servers also, not only one Linux server. Like we can have a different kind of servers. But if you are accessing remotely, it means in-band. Mostly we access remotely only, so you are not allowed inside of the server room. You have to access from here only, in-band, out of band. That is the first one. So, okay. In a second one, so why we are using SSH for Linux access? So you have to access server remotely, okay, because you can't go inside. So you have to go access from here. So I'm using a small application called Putty. In that one of the protocol support is SSH protocol. So Linux is, we can access with a SSH terminal. You can access with the SSH protocol. It will give you this terminal window. So then it will connect to my Linux and I can access Linux server from here using SSH protocol. We can use Telnet and SSH also. We can use Telnet and SSH also. We can use Telnet and SSH. Difference is Telnet don't have an encryption. SSH has an encryption. So whatever the data you are sending and receiving, it is encrypted format, means no one will see what data you are transmitting from your PC to remote PC. So that's why we are using SSH. Next, okay. So just for remote connection and habituated to connect your remote PC with SSH is important. Okay, because when you do projects based on a Linux server, when you do projects based on a Linux server, like you want to create a LAMP server. LAMP. What is LAMP? Anybody know XAMPP? XAMPP or LAMP? Anybody? IT people are also there, right?
Yes, sir, it is PHP web server.
Yes, yes. PHP web server is a combination of multiple things. Here it is, because when you develop a web application, we need a platform. So that different parts are required to develop a web application and to run a website also. Okay, not just normal website is web server is enough, but if you want to run a web application wise, like um, we are using Google Meet is one of the web application. Okay, not just a website. See, this is a website. It contains the data and we are accessing the data. But this is a web application. This is web application means it's a site wise we are accessing, but backend is application is also running. Okay, that's the difference. Website is different and web application is little bit different. Website is a common one for anything, is a one single website for interface purpose, but backend application wise or a simple page wise is there. Okay, if you want to develop, this is LAMP or exam will be useful, like you are using a Windows operating system. Okay, and you want the facilities, then you download exam from internet. But if you are using a Linux, you can install one by one. So what is L means Linux. L means Linux. A means Apache. Apache web server. Apache web server. Apache HTTP. Okay. M means MySQL. P means PHP. It's a combination. So here LAMP, Linux, Apache means web server, MySQL, PHP. The people who develop the PHP application, people who develop MySQL PHP connection. Okay, who PHP alone won't run. It need a web server. PHP program don't run. Only it run on a web server only. It not run a client side. Okay, so PHP. Okay, if you first in Linux we should install web server, we should install, then MySQL PHP. Okay, so we can administrate all that together and we can install web applications also. You know, certain web applications are there. For example, WordPress. I want to create a WordPress. My in my server, I want to go with a WordPress website. So WordPress framework, I want it. I want a WordPress framework to develop my website. Okay, so you can use WordPress.com or you can download WordPress also. Okay, it support that framework required a basic Linux, Apache web server, Apache HTTP, or Tomcat, or MySQL, PHP support is required. WordPress model, different things are there. Model is also like a open source learning platform. We can conduct exams, classes, and other things also. So you download application, model application, but how to install? You should install in a LAMP only. Okay. For example, just why I'm telling this one, just for sharing knowledge and of course useful knowledge. Okay. So if you cannot, like I don't have a Linux kind of stuff, then you can use XAMPP also. Okay. So like you have a Windows, then you don't have a choice. So you can use XAMPP. So this is a XAMPP like this. Maybe you can see very small letters because the window is their size. Am I putting charging or not? Yeah, yeah, okay, okay. Okay, so that is a XAMPP. Like download XAMPP and install, and you will get a MySQL, PHP, HTTP, Tomcat. Also, you will get it. Okay, so web application. So forget about this one. So I will go to LAMP. Now I want to implement LAMP server in this one. I want to install. Already Linux is there. So already Linux is there. Now I have to install a Apache HTTP in this one. So from where? My client PC only. From this PCA. I want to install from here. How to install? Using remote terminal only. I want to install MySQL and PHP. I can do it from here. I no need to go inside a server room. I can access from my remote PC. I can do it from here only. Okay, from here only. So that is why we are using SSH. Habituate SSH. When you are working on some project, like either maybe a web server management or a um, data management, or maybe database, Oracle database management. Like you can install Oracle also. You can install Oracle database, right? Oracle or DBA management, database administrator. You are install your Oracle database in the Linux PC, then DBA management is also come there. If you want to do the database administration, okay, you want to do a database administrator to Linux, you can use SSH for remote connection purpose. You can do whatever the management thing through remote connection only. That's why habituated you to use SSH. This is a second reason to know administration. So these two I told, one is inbound, outbound. Generally we are accessing through network only. So that is first reason. And second reason is habituate to use SSH only. Okay. Third reason I will tell. Third reason is we use GUI installation. So for example, I installed Linux in the GUI format. Okay, so yesterday successfully we completed. Last only 3-4 members are there. So finally I can able to show the screen to them, but I shut down immediately and I slept. Okay, so this is a GUI window. Okay, if you access the Linux PC directly, you will get GUI screen. So if you install GUI, you will get a GUI screen. But when you are accessing remotely, you will get a CLI only. So SSH to Linux will give you command line interface only, no GUI interface. So SSH, you don't get any GUI interface, we CLI interface anyway. Okay, next GUI one screen only. So that screen thing I will show you, but so only one actually there is in a Linux we have a 7 terminals are there in Linux. In physical Linux directly we have a 7 terminals are there. That is, we call it as a TTYs. What is TTY means? Tele terminal something name is there. Okay, so 7 terminals are there, physical terminals. We can go by alt control F1, F2, F3, F4 like that. Alt control F1, alt control F2, alt control F3 like that. 7 terminals are there. In GUI Linux server, one screen is GUI, one screen only GUI. All remaining 6 are CLI only. All 6 are CLI only. Means only one GUI you will get it. The first one, only one GUI you will get it. Okay, and all are 6 CLIs only. You can log into each terminal with a different users or same users, no problem. Next, if you are accessing with SSH, that is also CLI only. That's why whether you use GUI full version or CLI version, but you are working with a SSH only. You are working with a SSH only. So main important is accessing remote is important. So in SSH you are getting CLI. So whether you are GUI installation means if you install in a GUI mode or minimal, okay, or minimal, no difference because we are using SSH to access the machine. So that's why I said you can choose minimal or a GUI, not at all a problem. And if you have a lesser the RAM capacities or slower the PCs, then use the minimal because minimal is required. 512 is fine with that one. If you have a 512 RAM, 512 MB or 1 GB, fine. You can use 2 Linux machines or 3 Linux machines. Linux, 512, 512, 512. No problem, 1.5 GB, right? If you want a Linux server, Linux client. So certain practicals you need a 2 Linux PCs. You can happily use it with a minimal. Why? Why? Because of you can lesser the RAM requirement. GUI need a more RAM capacity. Minimum 2 GB RAM is required. For smoother work, basically we need a at least 2 GB RAM. Okay, so people don't have a more RAM capacity, so they can't offer 2 GB RAM. That is the first one. Okay, so you can use GUI, but why I said also GUI, you can use full version also, and also I told how to install full version also. Last batch I didn't tell full version. Okay, but for your batch again I'm telling full version because one of my Hyderabad faculty raised the question. If you don't see GUI, then how do people understand minimal and all? But it's okay. So one thing and certain practicals like a web server, certain things like understanding of firewalls, in a Linux, SC Linux, okay, and the pattern like other practicals like DevOps related practicals, virtualization practicals on Linux, virtualization in Linux, DevOps in Linux, or web server kind of stuff in a Linux. Okay, so this kind of stuff to understand mainly we need a GUI. Okay, so guys, if you don't have a GUI, means if you cannot able to install GUI because of your mobile data, and second one is low RAM capacities, no problem. Use minimal version. That's it. Okay, because max to max practical we use SSH only, and we use a CLI only. Few practicals required, not at all not completely required, but so a 20% requirement, that's it. Okay, you don't miss much. Later you can think like presently we need a machine, minimal is good. If you install GUI, it is also good. Both are same. Okay, of course few things we can able to see in GUI directly graphically. Okay, so few practicals we can do in a GUI is much better than CLI type. Okay, so for understanding. Okay, so if you don't have GUI, not at all a problem. If you have a GUI, then it is also good. So that's why I told this dot. Okay. So I think you got understand inbound and bound importance of SSH and PuTTY access to Linux server and minimal and GUI type. Okay. Next, if you have a Windows PC, if you have a Windows PC, so Windows is a GUI base. Okay. Of course, you can access CLI like use a telnet SSH, like you can use telnet SSH and also RDP. Main is RDP. If you have a Windows operating system, use remote desktop to access remotely. This is Windows Server. Okay, Windows Server. You want to access this, use the RDP protocol. RDP also remote desktop protocol. Next, whether it is a Linux GUI or Windows GUI, you want to access like a GUI mode only. Is it Linux or a Windows? Okay, you want to access in a GUI mode, like a desktop mode only you want to access, not in a CLI mode. You don't like it. You can use VNC. VNC. Okay, so we need a VNC server. So make this one as a server. VNC server. This is a VNC server. VNC client here. VNC server. Install VNC server. VNC client here. So we can access in a GUI mode. VNC. Different VNCs are there. So you can type like VNC. VNC viewer or VNC servers. Okay, different VNC servers are there. Virtual network computing. Okay, Ultra VNC, Tight VNC, Tiger VNC, Team Viewer, Real VNC, AnyDesk. This is Tiger VNC. You know, when I start teaching Linux 6, Linux Red Hat Enterprise Linux 6. So in the one of the practical is Tiger VNC. We tried and tried. We succeed sometimes. Sometimes it is failure. Okay. Ultra VNC, Tiger VNC, Team Viewer, Real VNC, AnyDesk, PuTTY. So they are telling, but VNC is a VNC. These are actual VNCs. Remaining are like a VNCs. Okay. So this is a private thing. Okay, I don't know these things. Splash top something is came up. Okay. So Google Chrome is also providing. Google Chrome remote desktop is also there. So I don't know how it is works. We'll see. Open VPN. Joho. So how many came up? So we don't know how many will work. Okay. So normally real VNC is there. Actually VNC means real VNC. Somewhere it is like real VNC, Ultra VNC, Tiger VNC. I use Tiger VNC for a Linux remote desktop purpose. Like we can view the desktop. Okay, directly we can see the desktop window, like you can see in this screen. So VNC we can see like this. Like you have a server and you want to access the server entire window, you can use VNC connections. Okay, network server, VNC client, VNC server. So we can access that VNC, real VNC. Like that, so many other softwares also available to view remote desktop also. Okay, if you don't like CLI mod and you want a GUI mod, you can use it, no problem. Okay. Okay, I think Ajit is satisfied now. Add a needed, so it's a very important one because we are using blindly. Guys, never learn anything blindly. Okay, learn. If I cannot able to give answer, proper answer sometimes, still don't leave it, search for it. Lot of answers available. Okay, lot of answers available. Think, search. You can ask me first of all. If you got a doubt anyway, to whom you will ask, anyway you will ask me. Okay, ask me. I will try to satisfy your answer. I will try to give proper information based on remaining time and all other things. Okay, so I will give you information. So I will try max to max to give complete answer. Next one is you can try by googling it, or maybe if you are not satisfied, or maybe you want to know more, you want to go with more things, you can search in Google videos. So many things are there, you can try. Why I take more interest to in a VMware kind of stuff, VMware or VirtualBox related one. Next time you want to learn anything, you want to learn anything on your own, so virtualization is a better platform. For example, in my screen, okay, I install Apache, NetBeans, of course, PyCharm, good, but Eclipse not given properly. Eclipse starting it is working good, later something is corrupted, so I deleted and I install a new Eclipse that is working, but it is not working as per me. Okay, and again I install a new version, that is some corruption is occurred in a Eclipse. Finally I deleted that one. So it will cause a problem to my screen also. Sometimes I want to run some programs, it may give a problem to my system. So then what I choose to go with the virtual machines. I want to build something, I want to practice Docker, for example. Okay, so again and again I have to install the Docker, or maybe I have to do other things. What happened, so I got a little bit problems. Okay, so better put it in a virtual machine. So I will create a virtual machine. Okay, so I'll create a virtual machine, inside I install a Windows 10, then install a my required applications. Or or for certain practicals I need a Linux, so I install a CentOS, I like 7, then I install a required applications. So to test it, practice it, many things. One day I want to install SCCM, I want to learn SCCM. So I install Windows Server in a virtual machine. So I created a VM. Inside I put a Windows Server. Then I made that server as a domain controller. Then I install a SCCM software. I failed. What happened? Don't worry, I failed. Okay, I failed first time, I failed second time, I failed third time, I failed fourth time. Fourth time is got little bit successful. Okay, then I removed all the things, and then finally I installed a successful version. I maintained for almost 2 months, and it's a 180 days trial version. 180 days completed. Okay, 180 days trial version completed, then I removed it. See, advantage of, okay, what is the importance? I failed, no problem. I remove the virtual machine I creating from starting, and I done one by changing of pattern installation things. Finally I succeeded. I installed Exchange server 2 3 times, not 2 3 times, 4 5 times I installed Exchange server 2013. First 2 times I failed, 2 times I failed, no problem. I removed it, I installed it again. One day I took a physical server, I took a directly server 2016. Inside a 16 I installed Exchange 2016. I failed. Then what I have done? Physical server should be formatted. I format. Finally, I got one solution. I done that one. System becomes slow. So physical machine get a volume now. And I done this thing in a virtual machine. This is I done in a virtual machine. Virtual machine server 2012. So no problem. Okay. Even fail also no problem. Okay. Even I fail, but no problem, because it's a virtual machine, that's it. Only time is concerned, but this is physical machine, something happened to any physical disk or anything, big problem, right? So that's why understand virtual machines. To create a virtual machine, see all the options, practice, you will fail, no problem, because whatever you do inside a virtual machine, nothing will happen to your physical machine. Nothing will happen to your physical machine. Whatever the thing is happened inside of the virtual machine, nothing is happened to your physical machine. Okay, I done some like in virtual machine Windows 7. I installed some crack version application, that is exam related. One application is there, I install it, that is a virus. That is virus. What happened? Nothing is happened. Very simple. Nothing is happened to my physical machine. Only it may happen to your virtual machine. That is also I have a solution. I take a snapshot. I will show you that snapshot also. I took a snapshot and I install this cracked version application, and it is not working, and that is the crack is virus. So to prevent my system damage, I go to previous state. Okay, I took a snapshot, then I install application with a crack, find out it is not working and it is a virus also, then I revert it to previous condition. So that is also possible with a virtual thing. So your virtualization, so whatever you use VMware, Hyper-V or VM, Oracle VirtualBox, so you will get a snapshot kind of stuff. See, this is my 2012 base. Okay, so I want to use a magnifier. This is all learning, guys, so don't worry. And you can, if you got a questions like what is a snapshot, also you can give answer also. Snapshot, checkpoint, snapshot or a checkpoint, both are same. So this is my okay, so I'll go to my, this is a server 2012. In this virtual machine, server 2012 is installed, Windows Server 2012 installed, and I configured as a domain controller, and I create a snapshot. See, this is called a snapshot, snapshot manager. Like, see, DC is installed, and I put a name like this is. So I configured something server. Now you are here. It is there, right? So DC is installed. Okay. Now what I done? So I start this machine. I do something, and that one is not giving proper result. So I can go back to the previous condition. I can go back to the previous condition. So what I will do, so I will go to snapshot, snapshot manager. Okay, so go here, go to, click on go to. So automatically whatever you configured latest, that will be removed from your PC. Also it will give you, it will options here, it is reverted to, revert to snapshot DC installed. We can go to previous state. This is up XP machine. I installed some application inside for repackaging application, and when I install application, after installation of application, these two applications are installed. I took a snapshot. Then I will do some practicals on it using that application. I do something. Okay, after doing that completion, so what I do, so actually application in .exe format, I will convert .exe to MSA format. After practical is completed, I'll go to the previous state. Okay, so like that we can do it. Now, these things I didn't done anything. So this is Windows 10 Jenkins. Sometimes see I didn't done anything. So certain things I will do like that. Certain things I don't do it. Okay, so depends upon your requirement. Depends upon the server requirements or system requirements. We do it. So this is the minimal, right? So we'll see that one. Okay, I'll start the machine, no problem. So that is a beautiful thing in a snapshot. What is the snapshot? Snapshot or a checkpoint are same. If in interview they ask question, do you know anything about snapshot or a checkpoint? Okay, so in virtualization, checkpoint server is there. That's a different one. Virtualization, in a virtualization means when you use Hyper-V, they call this one as a checkpoint. So checkpoint, Hyper-V they call checkpoint, and snapshot in a VMware and other technologies. Okay, so what is this? Once you created a machine, install operating system, install applications, you can create a snapshot. After creating a snapshot, you install any application, data, or change settings. Something goes wrong, we can go back to previous state. So when I start failing multiple times with a SCCM, what I done, I created a server, I installed a domain controller. This is time taken. Installation of server, creation of domain controller, time taken things. Again and again I can't do it. So I take a after domain controller creation, I take a snapshot. Here I take a snapshot. Then I install SCCM pre-configuration of applications. Then install a SCCM. Then I got successful, luckily. And if I got a failure, no problem. I'll revert it to the previous condition. So this is constant and this is not constant. So I can fail multiple times, no problem. My base mission is available always. Okay, but that is not happen with this one because I choose a physical server because it's directly 8 GB RAM. The physical server itself 8 GB RAM. So physical server, right? It is faster than a virtual machine. So I install Windows Server 2016. Then I install Exchange server and I got failure. Again, I formatted it. Again, because we don't have a choice, we have to format it. So I have to create domain controller here and then install a Exchange server. So what happened? Because it's a physical server, because of failure multiple times format again. But here that is not happen because I'm checked 2 times failure. So I thought it is better make one portion as a constant and add anything. If you don't understand guys, still no problem. Try to understand advantages of using virtual machines. Okay. So you can learn so many things. So I think I given a clear point. What is a server room, out of band, in band, remote accesses, PuTTY, SSH, Telnet, RDP, and VNC player. One more thing I want to say, PuTTY. I'm opening PuTTY. Why it is throwing a error? So no. PuTTY is actually normal one only. So this is a PuTTY configuration. Raw connection type is there. Telnet connection, like see port number automatically changing. Here no port number. This is a telnet port number. One more remote login is R login. R login, R sync. Also remote logins. This is R login. So port number is 513. Telnet 23. SSH 22. Serial. It automatically change because serial don't have any IP address. You have a serial port when you want to configure routers, switches, or certain boards are available, right? If you remember these things, guys, you can also try inbound and outbound in Google search it. Okay, so you know micro. Yeah. People are using a different emulator boards are there like this. Do you remember these boards anytime if you are using embed systems practical like that? So this is the board. You can insert a microcontroller and you can get a serial port connection here. You can see here. Okay, so we'll go to serial port interface like this. Serial port interface is there. Okay. So what happens if you are using a serial port? Then you have to burn the software inside. Right. So like that. Maybe Oh, now you see it is when I am doing my engineering that time if these things are available so I can do my own project. I can build my own project. So this is one kind of microcontroller we can insert it. This is another microcontroller 8051. This is a serial port one. So, see, so you can connect your system serial port to this serial port. Okay, technology available when it is not there. Okay, so not a this is there, but not available to purchase in other areas. Like if I am in a Bombay or in a Hyderabad, I can buy. That time I'm in a different place, Vishakhapatnam. I can't buy. That is not available. These boards are not available. This type of boards, and very costly. That time 8,000. Now it is 500. Okay. So this is a serial port. We need a system, computer system to connect it. So we need a serial to serial connection on board RS-232 board. Now you want to connect. XP has their own connection. Hypertext is there. Hypertext or hyper terminal. Hyper terminal is there. But you can use a putty and you can use the connection. That is a serial port connection. Okay. Also configuring routers and switches. Okay. Next SSH. Okay. Now logging, terminals, keyboard, bell. So many things are there. Bell, make default alert sounds, something like connection, no connection, disconnection, like that. But I will tell you only two main options. One is session, means here you can use host name or IP address. Normally we are using IP address only here. Okay, so you can use IP address, and also you can save the settings also. So there are a lot of things are here. So what I'm going to do is load it, so you can see what it is. Okay, so you can delete it also. Okay, so if you don't no more useful, so then you can also delete it. This is our no more useful things. So very old systems. Okay, now okay, next. Last yesterday I showed one IP address, right? So what is my IP address? This is my IP address, 2.48. Okay, so I didn't start my machine, so no useful, but I will show you thing. So like I have a 2.48. Remove this one. I want to save it. So my Linux 1 or Linux 2, which one I am using? So based on that I have to use it. So it's a Linux 1 only. So it's Linux 1. Name of the virtual machine is CTS 2. Okay, Linux 1. Now I put a name and I put a IP address. This is the IP address. SSH connection. Save it. So next time I need to type IP address. Like I have to use this machine for a 2-3 days. I don't need to um, type every day. So you can simply I'm saving the settings. I put a CTS2 Linux 1. IP address is this one. Like yesterday we got IP address. So just for example I'm showing, and put a name here, IP address here, click on save. Next time I can open directly by clicking load. For example, this is a one, just click on load, then I will see automatically IP address came like that. Go to this one, go to, so can you able to view, right? So I put a name, IP address. So yesterday my IP address is this one. You can check your IP address. This is one setting. You can save it daily, you can open directly, so you don't need to wait for IP address checking and typing. So generally IP address same, won't change. If you are not able to connect, so check the IP address. Okay, so what are it is, see, this is appearance, Windows appearance. Font size is there, so normally this is a big letters you can able to view, small letters you can't able to view, so then click change. This is the letter size, small size. This is the type of font style, sizes. I'm selecting bold because you are viewing, right? So bold letters view more clearly, right? And I'm putting 16 now. So this is the size. This is 18. This is 18. So you can see 20. So size will increases. So I put a 16 or 18. When you do it also 14, 16, 18 is a better view things. Okay, compared to a normal one. So I put a 18 now. If in case it is not enough, I can change it. 1 second, guys. That is there, no? Appearance change. So change and change the thing. Okay. Next, colors. So normally yesterday we seen background is like a black color and foreground is white color. But I want more visibility, so I change foreground as a black color. Okay, default foreground. I change it to black color, and bold foreground also black color. Black, black, white. Simple. First three only white. Okay. So first three only black, black, white. So simple, click it, modify, change it to black. If you like, you can put a different colors. That is purely depends upon you. But black and white is good for your eyes compared to other colors. Like no, no, sir, I'm a girl. I will put a pink color only. That is our tradition. If I use different color, so that is not my tradition. That is up to you. You can use green color, red color, pink color, yellow color. That is up to you. For me, I like to be more comfortable because I want to show you the screen also. Okay, so bold like this. So I made a changes, and again go to session, again verify the name and IP address, save it. Okay, so I click on open. It won't connect anyway, say, but you can see like this white background. So we can change the window also. Yes, okay, I closed it. Later I will open. Next time when I open, I will show you that. Yeah, I have to open it. So I will open it and start my virtual machine. Sure. Okay, I shut down the machine, so power off. Because when I install this Linux machine, why it didn't open till late? When I install this Linux PC, I choose 2 GB RAM. I choose 2 GB RAM because installation must be faster. Now this machine works with a 1 GB and 12 MB RAM also. So I change my RAM to 1 GB. How to change? Edit virtual machine settings. Edit virtual machine settings. Okay, and then select 1 GB RAM. Okay, 1 GB is enough. If you still want to go low, also no problem because 512 also runs good. But 1 GB better booting, rebooting kind of stuff. So I change from 2 GB to 1 GB. Okay, and select anything. So and go back again. So we'll see 1 GB. Okay, and here no need to change any options here. Okay, so it is no need to change here, guys. Once you start a machine, you cannot change the firmware type. Okay, so remember, don't change anything. Only I'm changing from 2 GB to 1 GB. I think you got it. And I start. If you see, this is I put a 4 GB for full version. I put a 4 GB, so it boots, no problem, it will come. So you can see it's a 4 GB. You can change it to 2 GB. Before you start a machine, change it to 2 GB. When power off condition only you can change it. So I change it to 2 GB because it's a GUI mod. Second one is GUI mod, so better use 2 GB. Don't go with 1 GB. 1 GB is your Linux will become more slow. Okay. So this is a GUI mod full word. I put a 2 GB instead of 4 GB. So I power on.
Sir, can we modify hard disk capacity?
You can modify hard disk capacity. What happened? How much data hard disk you keep it?
Sir,
How much hard disk you given? Size?
80.
80.
80.
Okay. 80 is enough. And you can add extra hard disk, like power off the machine, and you can add the extra hard disk if you want some hard disk related practicals or more space. You can add a
Okay,
hard
sir.
disk, but off the machine, add hard disk, but we don't know how to manage it. So if you want, you can add it to GUI mod is okay, but CLI mod you need how to manage in Linux. You can expand it also. You can expand it. Go to settings. Okay, shut down the machine and go to settings. Click on hard disk. You can find expand. Okay. So because machine is off condition, you can do it. So for example, which one is Linux? This is Linux. Okay, I use 40 GB hard disk only. Added a 3 hard disk here. Okay, 40 GB hard disk. Added a 3 hard disk here. So 40 GB I want to keep it in 80 GB. If I want to change 40 GB to 80 GB, click edit virtual machine settings. Make sure it is off condition. Okay, while running we can't change it. 40 GB, we can find expand. Expand the disk capacity. Click on expand. So 40 GB, then change it to 80 GB. Click on expand. The 40 GB disk become 80 GB. That's it. Later we have to verify. Okay. Expand increasing only size of virtual hard disk. Size of the partitions is not affected. It means any extra space is there, it will expand it. That's it. Okay. This is how we can able to expand it. Turn off the machine,
Yes, sir.
we can expand it. Good. So that's why what I'm asking. Play with the virtual machines. Play with the virtual machine settings also. You will learn lot of things. Okay. So this is my CLI. So I close this one. Okay. First give the root admin @123. Okay. Already yesterday I showed how to do SSH. So I'm not doing SSH again. And I put a command ap ip addr. This is the thing. Okay. So my IP address is, you can see in the screen, 192.168.2.148. Guys, you have to look at clearly that one. In case, if IP address is not showing there, you have to do troubleshooting. I will tell the troubleshooting also, but based on what you got a problem. Okay, I will show you that problem. If you in case in number 2 ENS33 or 1 ENS33, if you got 192.168.2. Some like you got a proper IP address, check it. Check your PC IP address. Check your PC IP address, means your physical laptop or desktop IP address, and Linux IP address. Both should be same network. Understand, both should be same network. So my IP address is 192.168.2.148. My laptop IP address is 192.168.2.224. So both are in a same network only. So like that I will understand correct IP address I am getting, and also I can able to access. Otherwise try to ping to your default gateway, physical machine default gateway also. You can do it, or a physical machine also. So I ping to physical machine or gateway. I will tell why I put a C1 also, no problem. So here, why I use a putty and mainly for this window, because when I reach down, I can't go up. I can go up, but if I keep on going down, it is not scrolling up. Just I'm going down only. You can see this is the last. Now I'm going up, but I can't scroll up. I can't scroll up. So that is the flexibility is not there here because direct window. Second, so I'm going to full screen mode. Okay, so here this is my screen, guys. Uh, I'm going to Alt Control function key also there because we are using a laptop. F1, F2 are binded to function key. So I'm going to Alt Control function F1, Alt Control function F2. This is a second screen. This is a second screen. In the second screen, I'm logging as a student. I'm logging as a student. And what is the password for student is a student only. Student. Now I log in as a student. Can you see the dollar? The dollar means it is a regular user. Dollar means regular user. And I type a command, who am I? So it is showing student TTY2 because it's a F2 Alt Control function key plus F2 Alt Control F2 or Alt Control function F2. Okay, so that is TTY2. I'm going to F1 again. This is F1. Can you see this is a hash symbol is showing. I put a clear, so then I will go to up. Okay, so who am I? Root TTY1. Because it is a root, it is showing hashtag. Because it's a student, it is showing dollar. And I log in TTY1 F1 TTY2 F2. Now I'm going to F3. This is F3, F4, F5, F6, F7. Totally 7 screens are there. This is again F1. I'm going to F2 and I put a command who. Root and student both are logged to this PC. Remember guys, Linux is multi-user multitasking. Multiple tasks it will do, and as well as multiple users can log into same machine at a time. Okay, same machine at a time. So I physically log in root in one terminal, student in another terminal. Root in one terminal, student in another terminal. Okay, like this. TTY1 root, TTY2 we can able to get it. So we can have a 7 terminals here. Next, I'm going to F2. How to exit from the user? Exit. That's it. Log out from that one. F1. I keep a root only like this. Okay. So this is how we can go to Susta terminals. If you are using GUI mod, then how to log into the GUI mod also I will show you. Just click and put up. It is showing a student one by default, but I want to log in with the root only. So I want to do some settings here. So then I'm going to log in with the root only. Not listed. Click on not listed. Username is root. Next. And password is root password is admin@123 because when I install I use that password only. If you use different password, so please check your root password. Now I'm getting GUI mod screen. Taking time. No problem. This is a 2 GB. This is 1 GB. Extra 3 GB I'm consuming. Okay. Now I'll see because it's 1 GB. This is 2 GB. See, totally 3 GB. Two machines I'm running parallelly. Okay. If in case if I have one physical machine, how can I get two machines? Now I'm getting three machines. One is Windows, another one is Linux full, another one is Linux minimal. See, 3 PCs because of virtualization power. So we are logged in as a root. Then I'm going to open terminal. So right click on the screen. You can click on open terminal. Okay. So this is my terminal window. I put a who are login. Only root is login. No others are login. Who am I? Root. Okay. Now I'm going to full version. So means full screen mode. Okay. And I'm going to alt control. This is F1, I think. Okay. F1. So I'm going to F2. Alt control F2. Now this is F2. Login as a student 1. Password is student 1. Login. Okay. So you can see the screen. Okay. What it is showing? Dollar symbol means regular user, normal user. Who am I? Okay. Click. Who am I? So student 1 TTY2. Who? Student 1 login with the TTY2. Root is directly log into physical terminal. Okay. So where am I? Alt control F2. Now I'm going to F3. This is F3, F4, F5, F6, F7, F1. Now it is F1. See, F1 only GUI. Remaining are F2, CLI only, right? Only you are getting one GUI. So why we are worrying about a GUI mod here anyway? Okay, like this. These are all CLI modes only. I'm going to F2 and exit from the student. Currently, I don't want to use. I don't want to leave one user as a login mode. Okay, so this is my terminal. Okay, why we need a GUI? So why we need a GUI? I will tell a few things. You can see, like if you create a folder or a file access, we are habituated to use Windows. So administrating using a few things in a GUI mod is look good. You will get a Firefox, files access, application installer, help, calculator, clocks, text editor like a gedit, documentation, internet, remote viewer. I said now if you want to remotely view anything, so that you remote viewer, office, this is something like video kind of stuff, firewalls, managing firewalls, Orca is a one kind of application, print settings, SC Linux troubleshooter, something is given here. Okay, and boxes, something, settings, softwares, updates, monitoring tools are there, virtual machine manager is there. Okay, physically means you can view in a GUI mode. Okay, remote desktop viewers. So certain softwares and applications are given. So Java is also installed 1.8. Okay, and web browser, like you created a website, you want to access directly with your physical machine in GUI mode. So GUI is supported. So that is why we are using this. But mostly we are administrating with a CLI mode only. For example, I want to edit a text. I can use Nano text editor. Any files are there here. It's okay. I will go to some file. Yeah. So this is a text editor. I can use this text editor. Control X. I'm just not using it. Next one is gedit. Okay. So this is gedit. So like a notepad. So GI mod gedit like a notepad. See, this is a notepad. Okay, with multiple tabs also possible, like you can go with the multiple tabs also. See, this is tab 1, tab 2 in a notepad, like what it is, it's a gedit. Nano, so I'm going again Nano, so you can see it is a small it is inside your terminal only. Okay, it is inside a terminal, normal terminal, like this terminal. So it is a CLI based, JEdit GUI based, genome editor like that. Okay, so that's why we are using. While connecting to SSH, whether you are full mode or small one, so both will be give you CLI only. So here one more last point I will tell, and I will give you a break and I will close this one. So where is my putty? This is my putty. This is my putty. Okay. Next. This is I saved it, right? So CTS2 Linux 1 load, and this is my minimal PC is there now, that IP address minimal one. So Linux 1 IP address. Okay, and also I changed my appearance 18 points, and also I changed my foreground and bold foreground into black color. Okay, background as a white color. Okay, now I'm going. So I selected this one. I click on a load and make sure SSH, then click open. Normally for first time it will ask yes, no, cancel. Click on yes. Now it can see the screen. Where is this? See, this is my screen. I am putting a root. Okay, no. So root password is admin at the rate 123. Okay, so I open one session with a root. Who am I? Root. Who? Two roots are showing. One root here, one root physical machine. So this root. Okay, I log in with this root in the screen. Okay, it is showing very small, but if you see, I log in with the root into the PC, and I log in my putty also. That's why it is showing two roots. Okay, why I'm showing this one? Because I want to show you one more thing in a putty. Um, so I saved this one, right? Linux 1 load, open. Again I open. I now type student. Password is for a student is student only. When you type a password, it won't show anything, not a dots, not a star, nothing. So type the password confidently. Click on the screen, type the password confidently and correctly. Now I got a student who are login to same machine is login three users, root, student. Now I got two screens with a putty. See, same machine I log in with a multiple things. See, this is a login with a student. Another one is login with a root. So for a root thing I will do here. For student things I can do here, like pwd present working directory is a /home/student, present working directory /root because it's a root. Okay, who am I? So this is a login with a root. Who am I log in with a student. So same machine I log in with a two users, separate windows. Same user also we can do it. Okay, so to show you that one, so I waited for a putty advantages. I took a lot of time to take this class, but I think you got good information about putty settings, login, same machine, multiple users. If I have a 10 users, 10 putties I can able to open. Understand? Each user we can work. Okay, so no problem. If you go to here physically, if you are accessing here, every time you have to go like this is a root. Again I have to go to another one. Here I have to log in as a student. Okay, another one student, or a user 1 user 2, like that you have to log in here. But here you'll get more easy facility. So so you don't have to mind about machine and thing. Just make sure it is running. make sure you can able to connect remotely and running. I can access this virtual machine from my desktop and my from my mobile phone also. In mobile also SSH app is there. Mobile SSH app is there. Install SSH app, then you can type commands from your mobile phone to the Linux machine. So this is the one. Actually, I forget. I want to start something in the morning, but I started this one because of some other thing. Okay, guys. Last, I want small part. Okay, okay, no problem. Just I will stop here. So I will tell the things after 5-10 minutes. Okay. So